Hello and how are you? My name is Muhindo Mubarak and I'm going to be your tutor in this journey of learning how to create websites. I'm going to begin from scratch, and when I say scratch, I mean that you don't need to know anything or any language or any programming language to get started with this course. All what you need is the motivation to stick around until we accomplish the whole content in this course. So by the end of this course, you'll be able to create your own website and web applications by yourself. So it's going to be interesting and simple and easy. All what you need to do is to follow along and practice what I'll be asking you to practice. So I hope you're ready to do or to take this journey with me. If you are, then let's get started. So as you can see on your screen, we already have HTML, and we're going to learn or to get introduced or to understand what is meant by HTML in this video. So we'll begin by the introduction. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Hypertext Markup Language, and it's the foundation of website and web application development. It allows us to create the content, and that will be understood by what? By our audience or our website visitors. And in this course, you learn how to craft excellent HTML with the pieces that HTML itself has to provide to us. So let's begin by defining what is meant by HTML. So HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, just like we've said. And HTML is the standard markup language for creating websites or web pages. Okay, HTML describes the structure of a web page. So in simple terms, HTML is the one that tells the browser how you should represent our website. And HTML consists of a series of elements that we're going to cover and look at practically. And HTML elements tell the browser how to display a certain piece of content. HTML elements label the pieces of content, such as this is heading, this is paragraph, this is a link, this is a table, etc. That is the work of HTML. It delivers our content to what? To the website. It does not perform logic, but mainly it delivers our content to the what? To the web, to the web browser. So here is a piece of HTML code. So this is the content that we're going to learn, and this is how HTML code looks like. At the moment, you might not be understanding what is going on, but by the end of this course or by the end of this video series, you'll be able to create these things by yourself. So with that simple introduction, you're going to meet in the next video where you're going to do our first web page. So I hope you're ready to do that with me. If you are, then let's meet in the next video. Thank you for watching up to this. Don't miss the next video. Hello and how are you? My name is Muhindo Mubarak, and I'm going to be your tutor in this second video of creating web applications. So today we're going to look at HTML editors. A HTML editor is a program that is specially designed for coding HTML and possibly CSS or other variety of programming languages. So in simple terms, HTML editor or HTML text editor is a simple program or software that is designed just to help us when writing our HTML. So it includes features like streamlining our coding workflow, and here is a list of existing popular HTML editors. The first one is Brackets, Atom, Visual Studio Code, Sublime Text 3, Notepad, Vim, and Komodo Edit. There are so many other HTML editors that you can find there. So what you do, you can just simply go and search on on Google, and find out, or any search engine, and find out other existing HTML editors. But for us, we'll specialize in Visual Studio, this third one, this third one, and it's what we'll be using to create our HTML code. It's the one that we're going to use in this course. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how we install the Visual Studio Code and we start implementing the HTML markup language. So I hope you're not missing that video. So let's meet there. In this video, I'm going to show you how we can download and install Visual Studio Code and use it as our text editor. So to do that, you just go to any search engine, and preferably Google, and type in VS Code or Visual Studio Code, and then press enter. So when you press enter, you'll get search results for Visual Studio Codes, and you'll get something like this. In fact, if you write exactly this is what you'll get. So what you're going to do, you're going to download VS Code so you can install it on our computers. So in these search results, click on download, and you'll get a page like this. So according to the operating system that you're using, you have to select the relevant Visual Studio Code version. So at this moment, I'm using Windows machine, and it is a 64-bit machine. So I'll click here on 64-bit so you can start downloading the Visual Studio Code. So if you're using Ubuntu, you can download the relevant one, and if you're using Mac, you can download here the Visual Studio Code version for Mac. So let me download the relevant one for my computer. So I'll simply click here on 64-bit so it can start downloading. And then you'll be redirected to a page like this one, and it will take some time to load. It depends on your internet speed, but if you want to download directly, you can just simply click here and then to start downloading. So mine is here, so I'll say keep the download and to start downloading. So I'm going to pause the video as it is downloading. After finishing, I'll do what? I'll resume the video and install it together with you. So my Visual Studio Code has finished downloading. It is here. So I hope yours also finished. So I'm going to install it. So right click on it and then say run as administrator, or you can simply double click on it, which is the same thing. So it will ask me to allow it to install on my computer, and I say yes, and then it will do what? It will start the process of accepting the user license. I say yes, and then I'll say accept the agreement, and then say next, and then click on next. It's going to install in this folder. I say next. So all what you need to know, you need just say next. So I say yes anyway, and then I say next, and then if I want to create a desktop shortcut, I can click here and then say next and then say install. So by doing that, VS Code will start installing on our computer. And you know the reason why installing the VS Code is to use it as a text editor along the way when you're creating our web applications. So you have to wait for a minute as installed, and there it has successfully installed on our computer. So you can click on launch and say you can select launch and say finish, so you can start working straight away, or you can just simply come here to start and then go to the VS Code. So if I click here on finish, and while I've selected the launch, it will open VS Code straight. And there it is. I already have some other projects opened it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my desktop, and the shortcut is there. So I'll double click on the shortcut. Okay, there's another one that's already running. First close this. I'll double click on the shortcut and then to be able to open. Okay, so for me, I already have another project there already open, so I'm going to close it. Close window, and when you open your VS Code for the very first time, it should be something like this. Okay, so you'll be able to see something like that. So that's what happens when you open a VS Code for the very first time. So in our next video, you're going to see how we create a very fast HTML web page. But I assume at this point you have successfully installed the text editor, and when we talk about VS Code, of course, for this course, we are meaning VS Code. So I'll assume that you successfully installed VS Code on your computer. If you found challenges while installing this VS Code, just simply put your challenge in the comment this, and then we'll do what? We'll see how to help you. So let us meet in the next video and we see how to get started by creating our very first HTML project. Hello and how are you? Welcome to our HTML course, and I'm Muhindo Mubarak as your tutor. In today's course, we're going to look at HTML basic examples. In this movie, of course, we'll practice some basic HTML examples, and don't worry if you have some problems or if you don't know any tag that you're going to use at this moment. So HTML document, all the HTML document must start with a what? With a document type declaration, and this is how we declare a document of HTML, with that less than sign and then the semicolon and then doc type of HTML. So the HTML document itself begins with the what? With the HTML, and ends with the what? With the HTML tag. And the visible part of the HTML document is between the body tag. Okay, this is what you call a tag. Okay, so what the people will be able to see, or what the user will be able to see, is what will appear between the what? The body tag. Okay, so with that much said, let's go and see and practice what we've just talked about. So let's go to practicals. Now here, this is my desktop. I'm going to create a folder where I'm going to be saving my projects of HTML, or my files of HTML. So I think also you have to do the same. So you go to your desktop and right click on it to bring options and say new, and then say HTML folder, right? So in that folder you can write HTML, and then after creating the folder, let me bring it here. Here's my folder, as you can see. So after creating the folder, you are going to open it. Okay, so inside here is where we're going to be saving our files of what? Of HTML. Okay, so there are two different ways how you can create a file of HTML. The first way is just right click on it in the folder and then say new, and then come and say text document, and then you select everything on this text document, and then you give it a name. For example, this one I can name it as one space HTML basics. Okay, and then I have to put .html. Okay, so when I put .html, it means that I'm changing the extensions of the file. So this file should be taken as a what? As a HTML document. Otherwise, if you cannot see extensions or the extension of the file, but it is recommended to be able to see it as a programmer, so you can differentiate the difference between files. So to do that, you just simply come to view and then come and click on options here. Click on view and then options, and then after clicking on options, click on view again here, and then look at come and check this, whether it is hide extension for known files. Okay, hide extension for known file and check it. Okay, if it's checked, just uncheck it and say apply. Then you'll be able to do what? To see the extensions of the file. That is very important if you're what? If you're a programmer. So we have created our first HTML file. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open it in a text editor. Okay, I'm going to open it to our text editor, and you know our text editor is what? Is Visual Studio Code. So there are two ways how you can open it there. The first way, you can drag and drop it in text editor. The second way is to go to your text editor and then click on file, and then click on open file, and then here you will have everything for you on your computer. So I have to select desktop, and then you see this is the folder that we just created, and then our HTML file is there. Okay, so I'll double click on it to open it, and you'll see this is our HTML file and there is nothing there. So I'm going to begin by writing the HTML structure. Okay, so to do that, I'll just simply write HTML and then push and click on tag, and then I'll have to begin by putting what we call the body, and then inside this body I'll just simply say hello. Don't worry if you don't understand anything here, but I'm going to explain it. Okay, I'll explain it. Okay, this is just a simple examples that shows you how we write the HTML. Hope they can see now. Okay, so I'm going to come to our project. Okay, that is our browser. I'm going to minimize this one. So to open the file that you've just written in your to your browser, you minimize it and then you go to your folder. Of course, our folder is on desktop, and then you'll find there HTML. So open the HTML. Then I'll drag and drop this into the browser like this. Okay, I click on it and hold, then drop it into our browser. Okay, so if I click there, now I'll be able to see my HTML code. So let me expand it so you can see. So you can see hello. Okay, so if I come here and type again, that's so we have now two things. We have the text editor where we're editing the content from, and we're having the browser where we're previewing the content. Okay, so this is the browser, which is Google Chrome, and then have VS Code as as text editor. So that's what we call HTML. And now let me first write here my heading. For example, I can say H1 and say this is my first heading, and I save by pressing Ctrl and S. To save, you press Ctrl and S. Then I can go back to the other project, which is this one. So I click on refresh to see the changes. Okay, this is my first heading, and you can see the changes. So whatever we write in this file should be reflected in the browser when you click on refresh, and if you have opened that particular file. So that is how we write a basic HTML. So I can come here and write a simple paragraph and say P like that. I'll explain all those paragraphs, everything there, and I can say this is my simple paragraph. I save. Okay, make sure that you always save. To save, you just press Ctrl and hold it and then press S. So if I come this side and refresh, you can see this is my first paragraph. So that means that we have successfully created our HTML web page. Okay, we have successfully created our HTML web page. So in this video, I'll show you how you can add their images, how you can add their tables, and all the rest. Okay, but at this point, we'll stop from here, and we'll meet in the next video where we're going to go and learn more about HTML. Thank you for watching. Hello, and how are you? My name is Mohindo Mubarak, and I'm going to be your tutor. In this video, we're going to look at HTML elements. So we'll begin by defining and understand what is meant by HTML elements. Then we'll go into the practical example. A HTML element is defined by a start tag, then you add some content, and then you close it with an end tag. So the HTML element is everything from the start tag to the end tag. So the makeup of the whole content, the beginning tag and the content at the end of until the closing tag, that whole thing, we call it an element. So here's an example of a HTML element. We begin with the start tag, and then we put there some content, and then we close it with an end tag. So this is how we open a start tag, and then we put here some content, and then we put the tag name that closes this tag. So the whole of this thing is the one that we call HTML elements. So here's an example, or here are some examples of HTML element. For example, you can write H1, and then you open it with less than sign, greater than, and you close it with a greater than sign, and you give this tag a name, and then you put the content there, and then you close it like this. So to close it, you just put the less than sign and the forward slash, and then you give the name that you used to open it, and then the greater than sign, and then everything that is inside here is what will be the content for this tag. So the whole of this is what we call an HTML element. Here's an example of another HTML element. Okay, so we have other type of HTML elements, which is the nested HTML element. A HTML element can be nested. It means that elements that can contain other elements are the ones that we call the nested elements. So in simple terms, anything that can contain another thing is one that we call what? You can call a nested. So if a tag has ability to, or if a tag is contained into another tag, that is what we'll call a what? A HTML element. All HTML document consists of nested HTML elements. And the following example contain 4 HTML elements. For example, you can see here we're having this HTML element, and then the body, and then the h1 tag, so, and the p tag. So all these are what? Are 4 different HTML elements. So in the video that we'll use to practice, okay, in the practical example, I'll show you how we can nest these elements. So with that simple introduction, then let's go to our practicals and we see what we've learned. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open my browser here. I'm in my text editor, which is called VS Code. I hope you can also as well open it. Previously, we created this file, and we just drag and drop the file alone here. But here we're going to create a what, and now we're going to see how we can drag and drop the whole folder that we are working with, and then we use it from the text editor itself. So to do that, you can just simply click on this Explorer icon here, and then you say Open Folder. Or you can open the folder that you created, and then you drag and drop it here. So I'm just going to click here, Open Folder, and when I open folder, you know the work that we are doing is saved on desktop. So I'll click on desktop, and this is the HTML folder that I want. So I click on it only one time, okay, only one time, and then say Select Folder. So by doing that, this text editor, it will help me to organize all my files here in a way that I don't want again to go to the File Explorer to create the file by myself. Everything that I write, it will be automatically be saved. It will automatically be saved here. So now let us create a what? Let us create another file. Okay. So when you write here a file, of course, it will be originally saved in the folder, but you can access it from here. For example, if I click here, you see the file that we did at first. I hope you have understood that. So let us create another file. Okay. So you can simply just click on this plus, or you can simply right click here and say New File. So this is going to be 4, and then HTML. It's HTML what? HTML elements dot HTML. Okay. So see, I put underscores because it's not advised to leave spaces in HTML elements. In HTML links. So you see, it is 4, and then I put HTML elements, and then dot HTML. So I press enter so that I can have my file there. So I mean that this file, even though it is reflected here, but the reality is, if we go to our folder, which is this one, you'll find the file it has been created. So that one will save us. So if I come here desktop, come to HTML, you see the file has been physically created here. So that one will save us to going this side and the other side to create the content. To create this HTML, to create these files. So what we do, we open the whole folder within the text editor. So we proceed to the real business. You're going to look at the example of HTML elements. So to create a HTML element, as we said, we always begin with a tag. But before we begin with the tag, let us create a basic HTML structure. So that is the one that we'll be following. So I'm going to go here in the previous file, and then I'm going to create a basic structure. So to create a basic structure, I'm going to grab here everything, and then I'm going to create a basic structure of HTML element. So what we do, all HTML file, they begin with the less than sign, and then the exclamation sign, and then doc type. Okay, like that. You write the word doc and then type. Okay, and then you put space and then put HTML, and then you close it. Okay, and save. So every HTML element will begin with this. So this one declares to the browser that everything that we're going to write now is a HTML element. So by doing like that, another thing that you write is now the HTML itself, which is HTML, like that. So if you press enter, this VS Code Studio, it will help you to do what? To close the tag. Okay, so we may not need even to worry about closing the tag. Okay, so there it is. So we begin with that, and then this, and then after we put the body. So I write body like this and then press enter. So this is a simple structure, or a structure of a valid HTML file. So every example that we'll be using and that we'll be looking at will be coming here and copy this structure and then use it, other than repeating ourselves. Okay, so I'm going to save and copy it, and then come to this new file that we just created and then paste it here. You see, these files are arranged here in a way that I can even close this one. Okay, so after doing that, I want to increase the font size. Okay, up there I can see clearly. Okay, so let us put here now our first HTML element. We said that you can as well just write as a h1 tag by just simply open the bracket like this. I mean the curl bracket, and then put h1 like this, and then you close it by putting the greater sign. So the advantage of using text editor, it will help you to do what? To close it for you. Or also in another way, if you want to write the whole thing by yourself, you can just simply write h1. Okay, h1, then press enter, and then you'll be able to do what? To get the tag. Okay, so for example, I can say this is my first heading. Okay, so it means that this is your first heading. Okay, then I save, press Ctrl S. Then you're going to switch to the browser to see how it looks like. So to switch to the browser, I'll just simply come and there's no opening browser here. I don't think it is there. Okay, just press Alt and enter until you find your browser. Okay, so I'll switch to the browser, see how it looks like. This is my browser, but the file is not open, right? The file is not opened. So what I'm going to do, you can press Ctrl and O. Okay, press Ctrl and hold it. Ctrl, hold it, and then press O. And then by doing that, you'll be able to open a certain file. So I click on HTML and I open this file that I just created. Okay, the second one. So if I do like that, the browser will help me to show me what is really what will really be shown in a browser when this file is produced. Okay, so you see, this is the same file, but this is how it looks like. Okay, so that's how we create a tag. So let's create another element. So to create another element, you can just simply come here. So if you want to know how to switch from one tab to from one window to another, press Alt and hold it, and then the tab key. Then you'll be able to switch from one window to another. Alt, hold it, you just hold and then press the tab key. Okay, so I come here and write maybe a p tag like that. You see how I write it? Just write p, then the VS Code will suggest for you, press enter. Or if you cannot do that, then you can write it manually by writing a less than sign, write p, and then a greater than sign. It will do the same thing for you. So I can say this is my simple paragraph. Then remember to save, Ctrl S, then switch to the other browser and then refresh. You can see this is my simple paragraph. Okay, so so this single thing, this one, is what you call an HTML element, and then the whole thing, these are nested. So you see this one is inside this, so we call that one a nested tag. Okay, so this is a nested tag. This is a single element, and this is a nested HTML tag element. This is a nested HTML element, but this is just an HTML single element. So I hope you have understood and practiced this. If you have, then that's great. Let us meet in the next video where I'm going to go a little bit deeper in HTML. Thank you for watching. Hello and how are you? Today we are going to look at HTML attributes. My name is Mohindo Mubarak and I'm going to be your tutor. So HTML attributes. HTML attributes provide additional information about HTML elements. Right now, if I talk about HTML element, you must be knowing what you're talking about. So if you want to add more information or more rules to a certain HTML element, we use a HTML attribute to define that particular rule or information. All HTML elements can have attributes, and attributes provide additional information about the element. Attributes are always specified in a starting tag or in a start tag of a HTML element. So attributes usually come in a form of a name and a value, a name and a value, a name and a value. As you can see here, this is an example of an attribute. So the attribute will have a name and then the value. So that's how we define attributes in what? In HTML element. Thank you. Let's go into practicals and we see what we've and we practice what we've just talked about. So here we are. So I'll switch back to our text editor. This is it. Okay, so I'm going to create another file called HTML attributes. Okay, so right click here and say new file. Okay, so I say 5 and then put full stop and then put like this, HTML attributes. Okay, HTML attributes. Okay, why am I giving them numbers? Because I want our files to be organized in a way that you can know where we start from and where we are at the moment. So I'll press enter and then we'll have HTML attributes there. So let's see the example of creating a HTML attribute. We'll begin by copying this basic file. Okay, and then come and write it here. Oh, you may not even copy it. Actually, even VS Code can help you to write for you the basic structure of HTML. Just write HTML like this and then press HTML5. They'll write for you everything that you may need to know about, I mean the basics or the structure of the whole HTML element, of the whole HTML document. So our task is just write the content here in the what? In the code, okay? Here in the body. So let's see what is meant by HTML attribute. We say that HTML attribute will define more rules to a certain what? To a certain HTML element. So I'm going to write here like my h1 tag. I say this is Mohindo. Okay. That this is Mohindo. Okay, this is nice. Okay, this is nice. Okay, so I save it. Okay, I save it. Then I'm going to open this one in our browser and we see what we mean. So if I come to our browser, where is our browser though? It is here. I'm going to open this file that we just created, this one. Okay, so to do that, I'll just simply say Ctrl O. You press Ctrl and hold it and then press O, and then you navigate to where you saved the file. For example, ours are saved on desktop HTML, and then this is the folder. So this is the file. So you can see this is nice. Okay, now we want to add more rules. Okay, you want to add more rules. For example, I want to say this should be red. Okay, I want to say this should be red. Oh, the whole thing should be red colored. So to do that, I'm going to add a rule. Okay, so I'm going to add more information. So you see the more information that we add there can be defined by what? By a tag. I mean by an attribute, and the attribute is always defined in the starting tag or in the opening tag of a certain HTML element. So I'll come here in front, press the space, and then write what we call a style. Don't mind if you don't understand this. When we proceed, we'll explain everything. So I'm going to say style like that. Let me repeat it. Just in small letters, style, and then equal sign, and then double quotes. You open them and close them automatically. VS Code will help you to do that for you. Okay, so after writing style, I'm going to say color. Okay, color, that's how you write color in HTML, COLOR, and then you put the semicolon. So that's an attribute. You see, this is an attribute and this is the what? This is its value. So I can say color should be red and then put a semicolon. Okay, color should be red and put semicolon. Let us switch back to the browser and see how this looks like. That's our browser. Refresh. Beautiful. Can you see that? It looks green. So if you come back and define and say this is yellow. Okay, blue. Okay, blue, like that. Save. Remember to save. Come and refresh. Beautiful, it's blue. So what made this to look blue? It's because we defined a rule, or we defined more information to make it look blue. And how did we define it? We define it through the tags, and we use what we call HTML attribute. So anything that will be passing in this first tag of a certain element is what we call an HTML attribute. So I hope you've understood it. We'll learn more about HTML attribute. This is just an introduction, but I hope you've got the concept. So don't just watch this movie as a just watch this tutorial as a movie. Watch as you practice. Let us meet in the next video where we're going to look more about HTMLs. Thank you for watching. Hello, and how are you? In this movie, we are going to look at HTML headings. My name is Muhindo Mubarak and I'm your tutor. So let's get started. So HTML heading are titles or subtitles that you may want to display in your web page. So if you want to put a certain title or a subtitle in your web page, you define those titles and subtitles using HTML headings. HTML headings are defined with a H1 tag up to H6 tags. So we have tags which begin from H1 up to H6. So H1 tag defines the most important heading, the most important heading, and then H6 tags define the least important heading. So as the headings decrease from H1, H2, H3, and also the importance decreases that. So HTML, this is how HTML headings are. For example, we have H1, H2, H3, H4, and that's right. So this is the most important. And if this one is inside this, or this one is nested in this H2 tag is nested in H1 tag, it means that the H1 tag is the main heading, and then H2 tag is what? Is a subheading, if they're in the same division or in the same section. So one will become the subheading of the other, or subtitle of the other. So that's how they are. So from H1 up to H6, H1 is the most important or the most biggest, and then H6 is the least important. So with that said, let's go into practicals and look at what is meant by HTML headings. So I'll jump straight to our code and then come here and open a new file, right click and then say new file, and I'm going to call this one number 6 and put underscore HTML headings. Okay, HTML headings. Okay, hope you can do that too. So I'm going to write here my structure HTML and select HTML5, press enter. Everything will be written for me. So here I can put the title, though I've not explained these things. HTML headings, like that. So this is what will appear in the top. Okay, so here I'm going to put now my content. Okay, my content will come here. So we say that HTML heading start with H1 tag. So for example, we can have let us say a H1 tag like that. Let me show you. Can have our H1 tag, just write H1, and then can say this is this heading 1. Okay, so the most important heading in your document is surrounded by what? By H1 tag. So let's go ahead and see how it looks like. So I'll come to our browser, which is here. I'm going to press Ctrl and O, and then select this file that we just opened. I just get it. So you can see we're having our H1 tag there. So let's go ahead and create the second one. So you can simply say H2. Say this is heading 2. Okay, so let us go and see in the browser how it looks like. Refresh. Can you see this is a little bit smaller than this one? Okay, heading 2 heading. So let us go ahead and duplicate this. So to duplicate, you just press Ctrl Shift D. No, not that. You press Ctrl. You press Ctrl and Shift, and then Alt and Shift, and then the down arrow. Okay, Alt, hold it, press Shift and hold it, and press then the down arrow, the down arrow. So I'm going to come here and change this one to H3. Come here, change this one to H3, and then here also H3. So it's going to be H4. Come and make sure that I open H4 here, H4, and then can put here H4. I mean 4. Come and make it this one 5, and then this one 5, maybe this one 5, and then the last one is 6, and then this one is what, 6, and this one 6. So you're going to see how they're going to appear in our browser. Save. Okay, I've written in properly. Come and refresh. You can see the least sized one, or the least important, is having the least size, okay, and the most important is having the biggest size. And HTML supports from H1 up to H6. If you write your H7, H8, it will not do what? It will not be allowed. For example, if I put here H7, it's a sin. In fact, it's not existing. H7 is not existing. That is a sin. It's a crime, eh? So H7 is not there. It will not be. It will just be taken as H6. I hope. You see, it will be taken as nothing. Okay. So H7 is not supported. The list heading is H6. So you can use this one to organize your document titles and subtitles. Okay. So those are the ones that we call HTML headings. Don't just watch as you practice. Let us meet in the next video where we're going to look at HTML paragraphs. Thank you for watching. Hello, and how are you? In this movie, we are going to look at HTML headings. My name is Muhindo Mubarak, and I'm your tutor. So let's get started. So HTML heading are titles or subtitles that you may want to display in your web page. So if you want to put a certain title or a subtitle in your web page, you define those titles and subtitles using HTML headings. HTML headings are defined with a H1 tag up to H6 tags. So we have tags which begin from H1 up to H6. So H1 tag defines the most important heading, the most important heading, and then H6 tags define the least important heading. So as the headings decrease from H1, H2, H3, and also the importance decreases that. So HTML, this is how HTML headings are. For example, we have H1, H2, H3, H4, and that's right. So this is the most important. And if this one is inside this, or this one is nested in this H2 tag is nested in H1 tag, it means that the H1 tag is the main heading, and then H2 tag is what? Is a subheading, if they're in the same division or in the same section. So one will become the subheading of the other, or subtitle of the other. So that's how they are. So from H1 up to H6, H1 is the most important or the most biggest, and then H6 is the least important. So with that said, let's go into practicals and look at what is meant by HTML headings. So I'll jump straight to our code and then come here and open a new file, right click and then say new file, and I'm going to call this one number 6 and put underscore HTML headings. Okay, HTML headings. Okay, hope you can do that too. So I'm going to write here my structure HTML and select HTML5, press enter. Everything will be written for me. So here I can put the title, though I've not explained these things. HTML headings, like that. So this is what will appear in the top. Okay, so here I'm going to put now my content. Okay, my content will come here. So we say that HTML heading start with H1 tag. So for example, we can have let us say a H1 tag like that. Let me show you. Can have our H1 tag, just write H1, and then can say this is this heading 1. Okay, so the most important heading in your document is surrounded by what? By H1 tag. So let's go ahead and see how it looks like. So I'll come to our browser, which is here. I'm going to press Ctrl and O and then select this file that we just opened, that just created. So you can see we're having our h1 tag there. So let's go ahead and create the second one. So you can simply say h2, say this is heading 2. Okay, so let us go and see in the browser how it looks like. Refresh. Can you see this is a little bit smaller than this one? Okay, heading 2 heading. So let us go ahead and duplicate this. So to duplicate, you just press Ctrl Shift D. No, not that. You press Ctrl. You press Ctrl and Shift, and then Alt and Shift, and then the down arrow. Okay, Alt, hold it, press Shift and hold it, and press then the down arrow, the down arrow. So I'm going to come here and change this one to H3. Come here, change this one to H3, and then here also H3. So it's going to be H4. Come and make sure that I open H4 here, H4, and then can put here H4. I mean 4. Let's come and make it this one 5, and then this one 5, maybe this one 5, and then the last one is 6, and then this one is what, 6, and this one 6. So we're going to see how they're going to appear in our browser. Save. Okay, I've written in properly. Come and refresh. You can see the least sized one, or the least important, is having the least size. Okay, and the most important is having the biggest size. And HTML supports from H1 up to H6. If you write your H7, H8, it will not do what? It will not be allowed. For example, if I put here H7, it's a sin. In fact, it's not existing. H7 is not existing. That is a sin. It's a crime. So H7 is not there. It will not be. It will just be taken as H6. I hope. See, it will be taken as nothing. Okay. So H7 is not supported. The list heading is H6. So you can use this one to organize your document titles and subtitles. Okay. So those are the ones that we call HTML headings. Don't just watch as you practice. Let us meet in the next video where we're going to look at HTML paragraphs. Thank you for watching. Hello, and how are you? In this movie, we are going to look at HTML styles. My name is Mohindo Mubarak, and I'm your tutor tonight. So, what is meant by HTML style? The HTML style attribute is used to add style on an element such as color, font, size, and etc. So if you want to change the color of your certain HTML element, you have to use what? You have to use style. You want to add the size, the appearance, or the display of a certain element. If you want to modify it, you have to use a HTML style attribute. So HTML style attribute, setting the style of a HTML element can be done with a style attribute. The HTML style attribute has the following syntax, and that syntax is what we're going to look into into our example. So in simple terms, a HTML style will help us to modify the way how our elements of HTML appear in the browser. So let's go and see how we can implement that. So to do that, I'm going to create a new I'm going to create a new file. Right click here, I can just press here and then give this file a name. So it's going to be 8._, and then HTML style.html. Okay, so I'm going to put here my basic HTML structure. There it is. Can put here the title, HTML styles. That's the title. Okay, so after doing that, let's see how we can do this styling. So to do the styling, we just simply come here and write. For example, I'm going to put something that will say I am red, another one will say I am blue, and another will say I am green. Okay, so to do that, I'll just simply say p tag and say I am red. So this one will make it red, and then come and say p tag I am blue, and then come and put another p tag and say I am green, right? Okay, so save, go to our browser and then open Ctrl O. I can as well drag and drop the file here, HTML styles. So you can see I am red, I am blue, I am green, but they are almost same style, right? So let's see how we can change their coloring. So to do that, you just go to our code and then we're going to add an attribute of style. Okay, so when you talk about attribute, you know what we mean. So I simply add here style, and then you just define color as red. Okay, then you come here, the second one, add another style tag, and then write here color as blue, and then come here, write another one, style, and put color as green. Boom. Save, Ctrl S, come to the browser and refresh. You can see I am red, I am blue, I am green. So how did we define these rules? We define them using what? Using the styles. So let us go ahead and add some more style, add some little styling. So to do that, you can maybe add the color, the size. So to add the size, just after the semicolon here, you add like size, font size or size, font size, font, and then dash size. Then you can say maybe 20 pixels. Okay, save. So come and refresh. Can you see this one is a little bit bigger? Okay, let's make maybe 30 pixels so you can see some difference. Okay, come and refresh. So this one is much more bigger than these others. And how have we done that? We have done that by defining the rule of using what? Using HTML style attribute. Okay, so using style attribute, you can define more rules, more rules. The font size, the font style, the font color, the many things that we may want to define how this thing should appear. So you can use HTML style attribute. So that's what is meant. That's what is meant by HTML style attribute. Let us meet in the next video where we are going to look at the HTML formatting.